Yeah. Got a wild police chase, a wild police
We've got
chase.
some breaking news. Let's go right up to Mike Lore. We're in Sky
We
5
got
over this
wild
high-speed
police
chase.
chase
Mike?
in
This has been going on for
Chicago.
about 20 minutes. We've been listening
It's
to
finally
the dispatch in
not
Iceberg.
in LA.
This is a Hyundai SUV that,
We got
according
a
to the Illinois State
Hyundai,
Police Dispatch, is
wild
wanted for
police
armed
chase.
robbery earlier this day. This pursuit
shit is
we
gonna
heard
go
on
down
the Iceberg started off the Bishopport
Chicago.
Freeway. That's 94. Went
Na-
back
na-
and forth and
94.
simply went down to the south suburbs. Almost a
Down
collision about
to-
3
All
minutes
right,
ago
I'll stop.
where this
What?
vehicle, as you can see, an extremely high rate of speed,
Extremely
turned around
high.
in Glenwood Dyer Road. Currently, this is northbound 394, and we are about a mile
What was the
before
94?
I-80. This vehicle,
I-394.
I would say at this point, is exceeding
The
about
interstate,
100
not the
miles an hour.
freeway.
There's one
The
Max is gonna
interstate,
stay
not
with the vehicle
intrastate,
here, so what you
inters.
cannot see
We
is
cannot
behind
see.
it is the Illinois
behind?
State Police and several suburbs
Illinois
that
State
are
Police,
coming
just
up
like
on
the
this as
LAPD.
well.
They're like
Several
10
times
miles
they were
behind.
almost able to get to this
Incapable
vehicle,
of keeping up.
haven't been able to do it as of yet.
When the vehicle
Behind this
stops,
vehicle, there are probably about
they
a
get out,
dozen
they draw their
squads
firearms,
with their
and they
lights
stand there
flashing.
for hours.
So now
They
we're
do nothing.
northbound on 394. There's a lot of
Hours.
interchanges here.
No, I don't
This
know. I don't know
vehicle
how they
can
do
go
shit in
several
Chicago. This is one of the first police
directions.
chases
They
I've
go
seen out of
east, they go
Chicago.
towards Indiana.
You don't get to see this
If they
every
go
day.
west, they'll head towards the
least
Tri-State
not from what I've
Tollway,
seen.
or they may continue northbound into the city.
Yeah,
Looks like
northbound,
that's their
dude.
plan right now. So this has
Let's
been
get shit
ongoing again.
crazy.
This is a Hyundai, and they're saying from this
Watch out for
point
the tow
that
truck.
this
This ain't
vehicle was
GTA.
wanted for
You ain't
armed
ramping off of
robbery.
that thing.
Now it's heading towards the city, so we're northbound
Uh-oh.
394.
Uh-oh.
As you can see, driving erratically here.
Uh-oh.
This
Whoa,
is the
look at
Bishop
this.
Ford.
Who's
This
that?
is the beginning of the Bishop
No.
Ford Freeway.
No squad car.
Northbound as we get up towards about
I don't know what the hell that was.
167th Street. Again, a lot of vehicles behind this.
Yeah,
This
Street.
vehicle will eventually maybe head up towards the city, and a whole
get
network
real.
is waiting for them. What typically happens
everybody's
here
waiting for
is
him.
the state police will notify other suburbs.
Yeah.
For example,
We got
this
state
is
police
happening up
party
towards
waiting for his
Dalton,
ass.
Calumet City. Those suburbs may enact their people here to try to
Yeah,
catch this
get 'em all
vehicle ahead.
involved.
And
Bring the
again,
whole
that's almost
cavalry.
happened. There was almost
wanna
a
see
collision down in
10,000
Lansing,
sheriffs,
near Cottage
police
Grove,
cars, the
down about
feds, the
Glenwood
marshals,
Lansing Road. Again, this
FBI,
vehicle wanted
CIA,
for armed robbery.
every-
And
whoa!
you can see in the dispatch, they believe
That
there are
was a
two
close
people
one.
inside and they're armed, and they're heading northbound here in the Bishop Ford.
Let's call him
right
Mr.
around 159th
Hyundai.
Street.
And now we are clearly in rush
Mr.
hour too,
Hyundai.
Mike, and the traffic is getting heavier even as we've been watching this car
Traffic's
weaving
getting
its
real
way
heavy.
through. He's behind someone
Whoa.
right now. Just
Uh-oh.
wove his way in
Uh-oh.
front of
Uh-oh.
a semi and is going along
On
the
the
shoulder.
shoulder.
So this is a clearly
On
an
the outside
extremely
lanes.
dangerous situation.
Oh,
particularly
come
with the
on,
people
this ain't
being armed.
dangerous
Now,
at all.
As they get
I
closer
drive like this in my sleep.
to this difficult traffic situation, I know every
This is how we all get through rush hour traffic.
jurisdiction may have a different rule about a chase.
Drive
What
like
do you
you're
know
1 minute
about
late for work.
What we're dealing with, at least specifically right now, as it deals with the Illinois State Police, since they have jurisdiction on the
Illinois State
interstate.
Police. They got jurisdiction.
That is a solid point,
Uh-oh.
Marion. So now
Uh-oh.
we're northbound
Uh-oh.
Sibley Boulevard. City
Yeah,
limits
apparently
are
this shit
about
gets really crazy.
a mile and a half away. So once
I've
this
not seen
vehicle
it.
were
I
to
don't know.
cross over the Cal Sag, it is
I mean, you can totally
technically
tell
in
this
the
is in the
city
middle of the
Chicago.
summertime, right? I mean,
I
it's
can tell you
absolutely
this, though,
July.
I'm looking up ahead now, and I see a lot of other vehicles. And again,
It's
we don't want
almost
to lose the
July
vehicle. This
4th.
is not an easy shot
At least
to
my
keep
time.
for our camera person, Max, here. But a
Can't
lot of
wait.
squads are up ahead
Us to
as
grill
well.
some burgers.
Typically,
maybe head to the
in
beach.
this case, because this is on the highway,
beach,
this is
the
from the
beach.
Illinois State Police. We
Illinois
don't know
State
where
Police,
this
where?
started from.
I
but it
see
was down
everything
here in
but
the south
police.
burbs.
The
They
fuck are
will
the police?
continue to pursue. The city of
Oh.
Chicago
Uh-oh.
doesn't often
That was a close
pursue
one.
because they are worried and have had issues before where people not involved in the pursuit have been hit either by the police or by the pursued vehicle, causing damages. So again, let's resum
Well, that's
all
the
this
game
up
they
for
want to
you.
play.
This has been going up and down
Striking
the Bishop
the cars.
Ford. We picked it up here around 147th in the Bishop Ford. It went all the way down
Sure as
south
hell
to
did. They
Lansing.
didn't put it down.
This vehicle, a Hyundai, wanted for armed robbery.
A
Of course, it's
Hyundai.
dispatch. And again, this is what we call the Steel Bridge here.
Crossing
so now
the
we
Steel
are northbound
Bridge.
in the city limits here. Just crossed
We
into
are in the city limits? Uh-oh.
A lot of troopers here seem to be
Uh-oh, you
heading
better call that
northbound
law office,
after
dude.
this vehicle. And now we're
Better snap a
northbound of the
picture of that
Bishop Ford.
billboard.
That's I-94 near
Gonna
130th.
need 'em.
You've
Better
only got
cross
about
off.
3 ramps where you can get
Off on the
here
shoulder.
before you
Yeah, you
actually
coulda
get
squeezed
into
back
the Dan Ryan
between them
Expressway,
cars.
and there'll be a
Fuck.
lot more traffic there. So northbound
rid of my
right now
mouse.
in the Bishop Ford. right around 130th. We can see 2
130th.
state troopers that are trailing at about a half a
129th,
mile. But again, this
120th.
vehicle
Uh-oh,
has been
uh-oh.
exceeding on several occasions.
Oh, you
over
know you
100
want
miles
to.
an
Better
hour,
watch out,
driving
dude.
very erratically. You can see
Innocent
tailgating
civilians.
that SUV that's in the left lane, weaving
fuck
from the
around
left
with the
lane
innocent
to the
civilians.
right lane, trying to make its way through.
There you
now
go.
we're
See,
northbound
nice and
130th,
easy.
and again, we'll see
That
if
wasn't
they
so
keep
hard, was it?
pursuing here as this vehicle enters into the Chicago city limits.
And the traffic is getting heavier and heavier, which of course makes this a lot more
uh-oh.
dangerous. He has come close several times and is weaving in and out of some
man.
of these semi-tractor trailers.
But it didn't show up 2 seconds
Heavy
later. There was a
duty
semi
tailgating
truck
and clearly
heading
going
onto
very, very quickly. That's
off
got to
the
be a
off
major
ramp,
concern
on ramp,
right now.
whatever.
Exit.
I think that might have
Yeah,
been
he
the
just
exit. Just took the
exited.
right. Yeah, you're staying. You got him right there.
Where's all that sand coming from? There's
Right,
a lot
so
of sand
we're-
out
we're
there in
now we're
Chicago.
heading on
Uh-oh, here we go, here
130th
we go.
Street.
Berries and cherries.
And here comes, this will be on a westbound 130th Street.
130th
So now
Street.
we're in the city
Uh-oh,
of
we're heading
Chicago,
into the
on
city
the
now.
streets of Chicago.
Yeah, the streets of
Right,
Chicago.
so this is the far southern limit
Chirac.
of the city of Chicago. The 130th Street, if you go about a mile south
we
of
in
here,
Chicago.
that's where the CalSag is. That is the southern limit of
We
the
in the
city of
CalSag.
Chicago. The vehicle is now westbound at the 130th, heading from the
Westbound.
Bishop Ford. Will eventually head towards Indiana.
Only
Now,
got
about a
one
mile
squad car.
ahead
Uh-oh,
here
Indiana.
is a very dangerous
they got a lot
turn
of guns in
where you have
Indiana.
to go sharp, basically
That's where all them
westbound to
Chicagoans,
Indiana, and then
that's where
you
they get
go
their guns.
north.
Get
That
it
is
from-
an area
get it
that
from
is
Indiana.
normally stopped up and a difficult turn, so
Stocked up.
something might come
Good
to
to
a
go.
head here near 130th in Indiana. As you keep going, if you keep going westbound here,
Whoa.
you'll eventually get back into the suburbs. You
Woo,
can see there's
picking
some
up some
road
dust
work
there,
here
dude.
on
Oh, now he's
130th.
going
You
the
almost lost
opposite
control.
I can show
direction.
you behind.
He's going the
Hey,
Correct.
opposite
It looks like it's going to try to
direction.
turn here.
Uh-oh.
Almost hit another vehicle that's heading eastbound and maybe trying to make a turn.
Was that a median he was
again,
driving
what
on?
We can't
Looked
show
like
you
it.
behind this because Max has to stay on the SUV here. Again, that is a Hyundai.
Yeah, that was a
is
median he was
wanted for
driving on.
armed robbery, according to Eastburn. Now we've got maybe about a half a dozen
Lucky they didn't get
troopers
stuck
with
on
lights
it.
flashing here, going westbound at 130th. So we're coming up to that railroad interchange here. This is 130th in
railroad.
Indiana. You go underneath, and we'll have to turn
What?
either right or left here.
Oh,
You've got
I
a
was
lot
gonna
of
say, where the
vehicles
fuck
also
are they
that come
going?
north
There's
and
water.
south. This is a dangerous intersection as it is. So let's see what the
Danger.
vehicle does here. All right, so it's going to get
Oh, he's going right.
northbound.
Busted her right.
This is on Indiana, and again, we're still in the
Oh, we're in
city of
Indiana
Chicago.
now. Uh-oh.
And then
We're getting
the
next level. We're
vehicle,
bringing in some
as
more
the,
cops.
State police are getting
the
closer
Indiana
and
state
closer.
police
The
coming
vehicle,
down.
state police
Uh-oh.
are right behind it as it has to navigate these turns.
You fucked up
3
now,
blocks
son.
to 127th
You don't mess with
Street.
them
We're west
Hoosiers.
on 127th Street, and the police are close
fuck with them
behind here.
This
So
is
you'll keep going west at 127th Street, and again, all of this is very, very dangerous. A lot of
Indiana
traffic in the other
Avenue.
direction.
Here's a
There's
school
a
bus.
school
Not
bus
Indiana State,
that's
Indiana.
slowing and
Uh-oh.
almost
Better
running
watch
into the
out for the
back of the
children.
school bus, trying to get around the school bus here.
Don't you be
This
messing
is
with
a
those
dangerous
children.
situation. Let's hope that school bus isn't occupied with kids. The vehicle able to get by here as
Crazy
the
if the
police
bus
continue this
sideswiper.
pursuit. This has been
Take
ongoing.
that.
We've been listening to this, I believe, since about
Oh, short bus.
4:15. It's been
Saw
ongoing
the short bus.
before this, and again, it's traveled probably north and southbound.
Good grief, that
another
dude's flying.
15 or 20 minutes, and maybe about 20 to 30
Fucking
miles
neighborhood.
here. Went from all the way from where we are now, near 130th, and now this vehicle's
Damn,
really picking up
he's
speed in the
moving.
straightaway here on West and
Say
127.
what, 70?
Went all the way down to Lansing.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Almost collided
Yeah,
with
70,
a few
70,
vehicles. Came
75
all the way
now.
back
Uh-oh,
north
uh-oh.
on the
Stop traffic,
394
red
here
light.
to the Bishop
Damn,
Ford.
that was
Now
close.
we're 127. There is an officer waiting for this vehicle here at 127th and Halstead,
He's fucking
and that
nuts.
is coming up in a matter of seconds here. So we'll see what happens. They have to stop.
Yeah,
for
a
the
little
light
lucky
at
as hell there went
Halstead
ice on the road there.
in traffic.
Or,
and
I
there
mean,
is another
sand.
squad
sandy.
that is right there.
We're having
I
a
believe
heat
that's
wave
Calumet
because
City
it's
that's coming in the
summertime.
127th and Halstead. You'll notice that a lot of the pursuees here
Homestead.
are either Illinois State Police or suburban jurisdictions here. as this
Suburban
vehicle
cops.
keeps going to the 127th Street.
Well, if it's suburban
Now,
cops,
again,
he'll be
we're in a
way
city
fine.
limit situation
Oh, he getting
where
away.
we're going to cross I-57 in a matter of minutes here. The north side of
I-57.
I-57 here on 127th Street is Chicago. South
120.
is
Damn,
Blue
that dude's
Island.
moving.
127th westbound,
75,
and
80.
you can see how fast this vehicle is going. It
Oh,
is
he ain't
taking
going
it,
slow.
even with traffic.
He is not
we're at
going slow.
127th and Troop now. It's taking about 3
Woo!
minutes to get from 127
Green light.
all the way from the Bishop Ford, that's I-94, towards I-57
Oh,
here.
shit.
This is a busy intersection. 127th
Oh, shit.
in Ashland here. We're
Oh,
by
he
the
sailed right through
expressway.
that.
Now we're crossing
I'm loving it.
I-57, turning northbound here. Let's see if they jump
get
on
back on the
northbound
expressway.
I-57
I don't know the
towards
Shell
the city
slogan.
here.
This is a very frightening situation, and at what point do you think there may be a
almost
shift
ran
in
him off the road.
tactic here, Mike? I don't know. We don't know how far back they are because you can't change, and we don't want you to change the shot.
Yeah,
See,
can you
I've
try
gotten close a
zooming
couple
out
times,
for a
but you
minute
imagine
so
a
we can actually see
significant
how far
amount of
behind they really are?
coordination between the agencies here to try to communicate a possible path of where this person
I think she was
might go, even
hinting
though
to
there
you,
doesn't seem
Mr. Pilot.
appear to be any sort of plan. It of course,
Pull
got way more
away.
dangerous when you get off
Hand
the
out.
interstate
See the
because
cops.
much more close quarters, and one slight miscalculation can mean a really bad crash. And then you also have this as well, getting when he's back on I-57.
And you've got this speed, and anytime you've got this
Whoa,
level of speed, the slightest
That was a close call.
mistake can be deadly. And it's a very frightening situation for those around them. They can't necessarily see what's coming. And this guy's definitely this
Cruising
person
on the
is definitely
shoulder,
driving
the
erratically
inside
on the
shoulder.
shoulder.
There is
in
a
between
large
cars.
curve that's coming up here.
No
Again, it's
shit.
another dangerous situation where
Uh-oh.
I've covered a lot of accidents. Northbound 57, when you go north of
Big
Monterey
curve
to
ahead.
111th Street, there's a big curve that comes up on 107th Street. If you're driving
if we were
without
cruising on
traffic,
a
it can be
river, it'd
very,
be
very
just like
dangerous.
straight up
And then we're
waterfall
about
ahead.
a mile away from this either turning
Water's getting
into
calm,
the Dan Ryan,
little
and
too
I don't
calm.
want to predict here, but if I had to, I would
And
say
then
this vehicle will probably head east as 57 goes east,
Damn.
and then go right back south on I-94 rather than heading.
Yeah, you won't get
into
stuck
the
by one of
city.
those Amazon
They
trucks.
are still
do not go over
pursuing
the speed
very
limit.
vigorously, though. Behind, we see 2 state troopers that are trailing here as safely as they can. They're basically about a quarter mile behind. We also see squads now above on 99th Street, and there's that curve there.
Troopers.
It's going underneath 107th Street on the right shoulder. You saw that Chicago
shit.
squad going eastbound.
I think he
They're
might have
all
clipped them.
communicating on what's called the ISPERN network. They all communicate
Outside shoulder.
situations like
Outside
this
shoulder.
with each
Damn,
other. Look at this
dude's
vehicle
moving.
picking up speed now. Northbound
Yeah, he is.
103rd, and again I-57 on the shoulder. This is going to make a northbound turn, and if you ever drive I-57, this is a turn.
He's
got to
be doing like 90,
in a matter of about
95.
10 seconds here.
No, he's
It's
probably
gonna
doing
have to turn right
100 miles an hour.
and then head eastbound towards
Brake
the Dan
lights.
Ryan merge. They just said on the dispatch
even done
that
105.
they said there was a male inside, and again,
Is
this
this a
vehicle
curve here?
wanted for armed robbery earlier
Come
in
on,
the day.
man, this is a
They're
weak-ass
saying there's
curve.
a male and a female inside. They believe that the people inside
Oh my
this
God, so
vehicle
many
are
accidents
armed.
happening over there. It's just
Riveting to
constant
watch this,
pileups.
but so frightening. And I worry, honestly, the most about the people that they are approaching. They have no idea
I don't
what's
think
coming
the
their
people
way,
really know or
except
care.
someone that's moving very quickly. And how many times have you been
Until
on
it
the
just
expressway and had some really fast
damn,
driver
look at
come
all
up
this
on
traffic
you and
coming up.
scare you, and your
All that
reactions
good
become
timing.
critical. So it's
Barely
really
missed
a
out on all that.
frightening moment right now just to watch this and where they're going to go and how police can even manage this. How, you know, what kind of strategies
not.
they
There
have
is
to
no
use
cops. There's
to
no
try
police
to be able
anywhere.
to handle this situation, because we
There's
have
no
seen
handling.
what
They're
happens
not
when
here.
when these chases go horribly wrong.
And in a crash. Yeah, and that's so often the case.
Well, let's not
Exactly.
hope for
Now
that.
we're on the Dan Ryan.
Let's not.
Now they
Oh,
just
the Dan
went
Ryan. I know the
north
Dan
of
Ryan. I've been on the Dan Ryan
and
Expressway.
As we all know,
I've been on the Dan
a lot
Ryan
more
before.
traffic on the Dan Ryan. So now northbound.
Oh yeah, traffic gets
really again picking up
crazy
that speed
on
here.
the Dan
Northbound
Ryan.
We're going to come up on 95th Street here.
95th
Now I
Street.
can look ahead northbound. There is no traffic on
Oh,
the
he's
northbound
moving
Dan
his
Ryan. There's
ass.
the CTA red line. And,
Oh, the red line, the
95th
railroad,
Street, you'll
or
see the
subway,
vehicle come
or
out
whatever
the
the
other
fuck they
side
call
of
it.
that. You've got the Dan Ryan. Now, again,
Dan
what's
Ryan.
different
Here's
from the
the
Dan
subway.
Ryan than the
Oh,
other
yeah.
expressways, you've got exits
Subway.
basically every 4 blocks here. So
Eat
they
fresh,
can exit
eat
87th
expensive
Street,
today.
79th Street, 74th, 71st. You get the idea. Eventually, you
Way
can head all the way north. And we don't see any traffic on the northbound Dan Ryan all the way up until about where the Stevenson is.
Good
so
for
again,
him.
this is another area where
Lottie
this
fucking
vehicle,
daw for
a
him.
Hyundai that is wanted for
I guess
armed
he's just
robbery,
gonna get away then now,
can
eh?
pick up a
Getting
large
off.
amount of
Oh,
speed.
he's getting
and now
off.
we're
Oh,
exiting
yeah.
again here. Let's see.
Oh,
We
he's
are
getting-
at
oh.
87th
he's slowing
Street,
down.
so I believe
Made a
they're
big
exiting
mistake.
at 87th Street.
That was a big mistake. Damn, look how close those
So you're
houses
getting
are
into
together.
a residential
Shit.
area, and this is rush hour still,
about no
and who
privacy.
knows what the circumstances
Uh-oh,
are.
bus
School
right.
is in session, so there are
Now we're in his
potentially
hood.
schools nearby that could be part of the problem.
And
They're on
traffic.
residential streets now
Yeah,
where
erase
you
that.
don't
We're not on
have,
that anymore.
you know, you have to slow down at each street
No,
to
no,
make
no.
sure that you don't run into anybody a lot of times on these side streets. So
lot of
there
sandy
could be
streets.
pedestrians making their way.
Lot of white sand.
Fortunately, it's cold. Maybe people, not as many
It's
people,
not
maybe
cold. It's July,
out walking
man.
the streets, but still, you're in a residential area,
Don't
and he's
stop.
still
Oh,
going
July.
well beyond the speed limit Maybe not 100 miles an hour, but well
Right,
beyond the
and
speed
again,
limit.
you see it right here
Uh-oh,
as opposed
uh-oh.
to the expressway
Oh,
where you
he's
know
finally
it's
going
open.
slow.
These
Slowing
are
his roll.
residential streets.
Smart
You
move.
don't know what's
Smart
coming
move.
up,
Right.
and this could absolutely cause a
Like,
collision.
where the hell are the
I
cops
believe
at,
they're
man?
off of,
There's no
State
cops
Street
around.
or maybe a block off of this. They
Oh,
got off
shit.
at 87th Street, went about a block, so we
Speed bump.
are about 80.
Sleeping
coming up maybe
policeman.
about 83rd Street
You
here,
just saw him go
northbound on
over-
this
He took his
residential
time with that
street.
Yeah,
second
you
one.
just saw him go over a speed bump. So
Fuck
you're
yeah, he
on
did.
a-
He
here
probably
you
wasn't
go,
wearing a
you're in
seatbelt
clear
either. I bet he
residential street
bashed
dealing
his
with
head on the
speed
ceiling.
bumps. This makes it even more frightening. I
Roof
don't
of
know.
the
I
car
know
looks
people
like Harry and the
watching, or
Hendersons.
They can alert people.
A big-ass
and
dent
that's
on
one of
the
those
top.
things. There's no way for drivers and
Now he's
residents
going real slow.
necessarily, unless
At
they're
first when he
watching
took, like,
television
what,
right now,
50?
to know what's going through their neighborhoods and other drivers
Crazy
as
fast.
well.
Exactly.
Come to
Yeah.
a full
Right, and I
stop.
think these speed bumps are
Be
here because
respectful
we're
of all
on
the
State
trucks.
Street here, and again, now the vehicle's
That's right.
heading eastbound. But
No, jokes aside, that
those
looks like
speed
a
bumps
school.
are there because a lot of people take those
That
as
can't be good.
alternates for the
Eh,
Dan
school's
Ryan
out.
and tend to exceed
Whatever.
the speed limit there because they think, well, I want to save time getting off the
School's
Dan
out
Ryan.
for
Now the
summer.
vehicle heading eastbound here,
Of course
and
they're out.
I believe we're on around 83rd Street.
83rd Street.
And trying to stay with this.
We might as well, because the cops ain't. No cops around. You think they'd
I'm
be
not sure,
flanking
and I
them or
was
something
looking
over this way?
behind
I don't
here,
know.
We're trying to figure this out. I'm trying to figure out if the state police or
Man,
the
I
people
thought
that have
the
been pursuing
LAPD was
even
bad.
know where this vehicle
I thought
still
they
is.
sucked at their job.
They may have lost him because we're looking. I'm trying to look
I mean,
behind
suck at
as
their
we
jobs.
stay with the
They're
vehicle,
not-
which
they're not
I
very
believe
good
is
at
east
police
of around
chasing.
83rd Street, and they may have lost the vehicle. So if anybody's listening in,
You
this
try that
looks like
shit down
east
here in
on
Florida.
83rd Street. We're
they ain't
about a
gonna fly.
block or two from Martin
We
Luther
don't give a
King,
fuck where you at.
which is
They're gonna
400
pit the
east
hell
here.
out of you.
Again, that vehicle bailed off
Ram
the
your
Dan
ass off the
Ryan,
road.
and I believe this is coming up on MLK
Guns in your
now,
face.
and went eastbound across MLK. So that was Martin
Under
Luther
arrest.
King here, and eastbound,
Taking his time.
I believe, again, this is 83rd Street. And again, Marion, as you were talking about, this is a residential area where speed limits are about 20 or 25 miles an hour. You've got a stop sign almost at every light
he is
here. Now the
creeping.
vehicle going northbound.
almost like he's
so
looking
we're
for
about
someone.
600 east here, northbound,
Looking for a place to ditch.
and a very
Uh-oh.
residential
Uh-oh.
area.
Here we
and now
go.
we're parked.
Here we go.
So the vehicle
Rock
was
and
pulled
roll.
in front of a home here. We're about
He's gonna
2
get out and
blocks
walk
east
like
of
real
Martin
slow
Luther
to the
King
house.
Here.
Fuck you talking
And,
about? I
we're
didn't do
north
nothing.
of 83rd Street.
He is. Look at him. He's walking.
Looks like somebody got out of the vehicle. What's that, Matt?
He's
The
just
cameraman's
walking.
talking. Okay,
Yeah, don't
so
forget to turn the headlights
we've
off.
got one person that got out of the car.
Look at
that's
this shit.
behind
Dude's
that
just
tree
gonna
there,
casually
we see in
just
the
walk
center,
off.
And then one person that is still
Well, I
in
didn't
the
do
car.
nothing.
And we can just see what happens here, but what we don't see, and we talked about this before.
Where'd he
because
go,
we are
dude? He
in the
just
city
disappeared.
Of Chicago, we didn't see those
Dude
lights
just ghosted us.
that we saw all throughout the expressway.
So
We've
ghastly.
been very focused
Oh, there
on
he
the
is,
hot guy
okay.
here that again
Just taking a
was
piss.
wanted for armed robbery. So the
Well,
vehicle
that ain't
is
good.
parked here, and again, we're about 2
That's
blocks
no
east
left
of
back.
Martin
Oh,
Luther
that's
King.
literally all he did. You just
Got
had to take a
back in the
piss.
car
All right,
here
come on,
now,
dude.
And just north of 83rd
Go get your
Street.
weed or whatever the
And,
fuck you're doing
again,
in there.
Don't see any
Let's hurry
police
up.
moving in at this time.
Still got
Let's see
shit
if
to
the
do.
vehicle stays here or continues to move on.
Well, it
Alice
looks like I
Marzani
wasn't
with
wrong.
Stefan
There are
Holt
no
here.
cops.
We want to
No
thank
cops.
Marion and Alex for their coverage. This is very surprising, especially after the high speed that this car was traveling at with the armed suspects inside, that they would take time
Yeah,
to
they
park.
don't really seem to give a shit.
Do you
now,
have
they?
any eye on any type of law enforcement nearby, or is this pursuit
No.
over?
So the lights that we saw
it might
flashing
as
on
well
the
be over.
expressway, and again, if you're just joining us here, as the vehicle
What do you think of
parks
this shit? This
again,
dude's just, like,
this went
casually
up
just
and
trolling
down
around.
94 and up and down the Bishop Ford Freeway. There were lights the whole time. Those lights appear to be
Well,
gone.
they're not around now anymore,
Now
are they?
there is a vehicle. Let me count my streets here.
oh.
That's coming off
On
of
the move.
83rd Street as this there's two
on the
people
move.
inside this vehicle. Get out there on the sidewalk.
They're on the
there
sidewalk.
are squads that are starting
I
to
didn't
come
do
west on
nothing.
83rd Street.
I
So
didn't do
we
nothing.
are.
What
Let's see. I
helicopter?
think we're about a block east of Martin Luther
you
King.
talking
I do see squads, and again, we can't
All
show
right,
you
you
that
go that
shot
way,
here
I'll go this way.
because
No, they're splitting up. One person's going one direction, the other's going in the other.
right, one
other
person's
way.
gone in
No,
different
whatever gave you that
directions.
idea?
There are
Uh-oh.
squads moving in. So we're in an apartment complex here.
Yep, apartments.
Again, we've been holding
And
our
we
breath
just saw
watching
something
this
being
Good
video.
thrown
old
over the
shot
fence,
town.
too, yeah.
Good old Chicago.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I hope that people
ABC
who are
5.
watching in that neighborhood there can find a way to stay sheltered, since we do know, as you've been reporting.
Oh yeah,
Mike
because
Wilbur, that
everybody
these
around here knows
two are
exactly what's
armed.
going on. I mean, we all
and
know what's
there
going on.
are suspects in an armed robbery from
That's what they
earlier
pursued.
today.
Well, yeah, you're not allowed to have
I'm gonna
guns
ask
in
you, you can see
Chicago.
there's a squad that just went right by him
Nobody's
right
allowed
now.
to. Dumbass just drove right by him.
And he threw something
What
on
the
the
fuck?
ground. Nick, if you can hear me, our pilot has
Did he
the
really? He
Chicago
just threw
Police
something on the
Department
ground?
helicopter. Are they up flying over this?
Dumbass didn't ditch what he had when he
So
was back
the
at the
Chicago
car.
Police helicopter has been flying about this as well, and we've been so focused on these people that have been winded. That is important because they have the same perspective we do, which means that they, from the
I
air,
just never knew.
can direct the Chicago Police Department down below here to where these people are. So this is the man that we saw get out
we
of the
got him.
vehicle. Again,
Got him.
this was a Hyundai that was wanted for
He thinks
armed
he's so slick.
robbery.
Like, damn, I'm
Illinois
smooth.
State Police
Uh-oh.
Network, and there you go. There's a squad pulling up right now.
He's about to start running.
And let's see if we have a foot chase here.
Uh-oh. Oh, no shit. He's
I
actually
believe
going to
we're on
cooperate?
83rd Street, and I believe
Wait,
somebody's about to
what?
be taken into custody.
Remarkable, walking so casually
surprised they
down
didn't
the street,
tackle.
It looked like they were on a cell phone, and that Illinois State Police car just rolled up
Wait a
real
minute. So this
fast,
dude's supposed to be
got
armed
out
and
told him to
dangerous.
get back onto the
High-speed
sidewalk
police
there.
chase all the way
Once another
across
officer
town.
approached there.
And they just
I
like
have to
casually
say,
walk
I
up and
was,
So
just
this has come to an
get him
end.
by the arm and
bit
just
concerned
walk him back to the
because
car.
of the fact that there was an armed
I can't believe they
situation,
didn't
that
full
there
on
might have been
tackle him.
somewhat of resistance or a shootout. So thank God.
Please come with me, kind
this
sir, if you don't mind.
appears to be ending
Will we just stand here and
peacefully
just
with
have a
the
nice
suspect
cordial
taken into
conversation?
custody.
Right, I believe we are.
We're gonna very
83rd
extremely
Street
politely take you
in,
into custody
Martin
now.
Luther King, 83rd and King Drive. So again, it looks like we're in custody.
Mike, just to confirm,
Come on,
we saw
officer.
two
Point to the
people get
helicopter.
out of that vehicle. This was the one gentleman who turned to the right of the camera. The other person went left. Do we have any idea on what happened to that person?
We
Oh, yeah,
don't.
dude, we
And-
know
and
everything
Max,
that
I'm
happened.
gonna ask
We're
my camera
clearly
person
watching
because,
him right now.
Max was following as well. We saw the other person go in the other direction, eastbound. That was off of
I mean, they
83rd
usually
Street. That's
usually
correct.
follow the driver. I think this dude was driving, right?
Right, so
I think
just
I
to
saw
sum
him
all
get out
of
of the
this up
driver's
very
side.
quickly, this pursuit went on for about 30 or 40 minutes. It was off of Bishop Ford, I-94, went all the way south to Lansing near about 180th
Yeah, what an
Street,
uneventful
Glenwood Dyer,
end.
Came back north on 394.
Okay, they got him. Where's the
all
other
way
guy?
into
Go find
about
him.
127th Street, across to I-57, into the
Nah,
city,
that ain't
bailed
gonna
off the
happen.
Dan Ryan at about 83rd and went residential.
Ryan.
Police lost the vehicles after a while. They parked, then went north
Yeah,
on
they
around
did. They
83rd
lost them for
Street,
like a
got
full
out of the
5
parked
minutes, man.
vehicle. One person inside
Dude took
heading
a piss and
westbound.
everything.
That's the person that's been taken into custody. Looks like a man at this point. Another
Shit, man, they
person
coulda
went
just stopped at the gas
eastbound,
station and
that
gassed up and just
person,
kept
we
on
don't see
going.
any other squads eastbound, but they'll probably still look for that
That
person.
school bus
here.
from earlier?
This was a
That's
Hyundai that
exactly the
was wanted
same
for
one.
armed robbery. One person is in custody here after a long pursuit at 83rd and King Drive. And again, we've talked about it over and over again.
Oh, yeah. Long,
We thought there
long.
may be a collision. This vehicle several times driving dangerously over 100 miles per hour.
That
No
was crazy.
collision. A lot of Illinois State
a lot of
Police,
close
Cook
calls.
County Police, more squads are coming into the area here
Dudes
near
definitely
83rd
will,
and
man.
Martin Luther King Drive.
Well, nothing
Oh, they
short
got
of a
the unmarks
miracle
up here
in
now.
the fact that that high rate of speed in that police pursuit, there were no collisions, and
Oh, yeah.
even next to a school bus.
That
I don't know
was
about
a
you, but
decent
I was
police
holding my
chase.
breath when it went around.
You watching
the
this,
school bus.
LAPD?
Close for comfort.
Nice job, Mike.
I would
Glover
say
and
take
your crew
lessons,
up
but
there in
they're
Sky
just as
5,
bad as y'all.
Following this pursuit and what appears to be an arrest, and we're not sure
Yep,
about the
they're
second
under
person
arrest.
that was in that vehicle. If that
Game
person
over.
has been apprehended.
Got
We'll
him.
try and stay on top of this. Mike
I
Glover.
would guess that's why we've got police heading east
Got
from
him.
here. We're going to keep an eye on that for you. We'll get back
All
to
right.
you if we see the police
Yeah,
moving
yeah,
in
yeah.
on that second person.
Okay, Mike Glover and Sky 5, we appreciate the coverage of this
right.
high-speed chase.
Thank you
through
so
the
much for
southern,
watching. Like and
through the,
subscribe.
south side of
See you
Chicago
later.
right now. Mike, thank you so